Well, it's time now to introduce a man who was destined to be in the spotlight. His bloodline is athletic royalty. His hands are deadly, and oh, is he pretty, like his grandfather used to tell folks. And he's on a journey to becoming a champion like many family members that came before him. I'm talking about none other than Las Vegas's own Biaggio Ali Walsh. My guy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I didn't kill your name?
Yeah. No, you got it right. Biaggio.
Yeah, I love the fact that you told people to call you
Bellagio.
Oh,
like
wow.
The hotel, yeah.
That's all bad. That's all bad. All right. So first of all, you are an MMA fighter. You're fighting in the PFL. Mm-hmm. You guys are going to be fighting over at the Virgin Hotel. Just how sick is it, the fact that you're going to have this opportunity to fight in your hometown at the Virgin Hotel?
Oh, I'm over the world. You know, it's hard to convey in words just how grateful, how blessed I really am. You know, I thank God for this opportunity. I thank God for everything that's going on in my life. Yeah, I'm really excited. I get to fight home.
Yeah.
And put on a show.
So I wonder, are you more excited or more nervous? Because I would assume that fighting in your hometown, you got a bazillion ticket requests, I'm sure. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, the nerves are a given. You know, every fighter is going to be nervous going into a fight. This fight, though, I find myself a lot more excited than I am nervous. I am still nervous, but those are like the good nerves, you know, the nerves that make me do better. So yeah, I'm just really excited, and I get to fight at home. I was always wondering when I could fight in Vegas, and now I get to fight in Vegas.
Yeah, man, the fight capital of the world, man. Like Las Vegas, I mean, obviously we've had a million trillion boxing and MMA fights here in Las Vegas, but for a guy who's grown up here, went to Bishop Gorman High School, could you ever have imagined that Las Vegas would be the sports town it is now with like the Raiders and the Golden Knights? And
yeah.
Like that's got to be crazy.
Oh, it's definitely become a sports town. You know, we have the Knights. I think we're getting a baseball team. So NBA team would be nice too.
Yeah.
We have football here with the Raiders. So it's awesome. You know, when I was a little kid, I was wondering when we would get an NFL team, and now we do. So it's awesome to see where the city's going.
Yeah, and your background is in football. You played football at Bishop Gorman. First of all, being at Bishop Gorman, is it just like a given that you're going to be like a famous athlete? You know what I mean? Like the schooling is good too, education, but I mean, you guys have all kinds of crazy athletes.
Yeah, it's you know, at Gorman it's known for their athletics, and I think that's just because of all the hard work that the students put in and the student athletes. It's a great school, and I'm blessed to have been able to go to that school and get used to performing on ESPN, you know, getting ready for all the media. You know, when I was a freshman, MaxPreps found out who I was related to, and the media just blew up around the world. So all of that stuff prepared me for what I'm doing now.
See, that's wild to me. So when you were in high school, you weren't like, you know, hey, I'm Muhammad Ali's grandson, or like no one really knew. I mean, your teammates never knew, but no one really knew until then?
No one really knew. Never did me and my brother both go around and tell people who we were related to. To this day, I still don't know how MaxPreps found out about how I was related to them. You know, I guess word around the campfire just spread like wildfire, and they found out, and boom, you know, the media just went crazy.
Wow. So obviously, we kind of alluded to it, but the fact that you are the grandson of the late, great Muhammad Ali, what are some of your fondest memories of hanging out with your grandfather?
Oh, there's a ton of memories I have. Me and my brother would go visit him, and my mom and dad, of course. We would visit him every year, multiple times a year. Thanksgiving, we'd always go there for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
I think my favorite memory was when we went to see Peter Jackson's King Kong when it first came out. We went to the movie theater, and everybody left the stands and wanted to take pictures with him, and I took advantage of that. I wanted to get in line and get some popcorn. And if you've seen the movie, you know you never see King Kong until like an hour and a half into the movie. So the whole time he kept tapping me and my brother, where the monkey at? Where the monkey at? Where the monkey at? And I couldn't answer because like I wanted to see King Kong too. I was waiting to see him as well, so I couldn't answer him. But that's one of my fondest memories with him. And there's just a whole lot more.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so again, you went to Bishop Gorman. Really quickly, did you play with Snoop's son?
Cordell, yes.
Okay, all right. So you played with Snoop's son. Obviously, training at Extreme Couture, which is Randy Couture's gym here in Las Vegas. You're around a lot of professionals. You've been around a lot of like really famous people. Is there a difference between the kind of reaction that people gave your grandfather when you're around him than they do like maybe, like a Snoop or something? Because like his amount of fame was on a whole different level.
Yeah, for sure. He was on a whole different level when it came to that. When we were little kids and we'd go to a restaurant to just eat, one person would see who'd walked in, and then before you know it, 10 people know, and then the whole restaurant knows. And we would enter the restaurant and everybody would stop eating and stand up and start clapping. I've never seen that with any other celebrity before. As a little kid seeing that, I've never seen it before, so it's kind of hard to explain in words the feeling that I had. It was something I've never seen before, but I just remember thinking to myself, wow, like my Papi, he must be a little bit important.
That's your Papi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, so I wonder about this as well. What's it like when you meet someone like me? Because to me, like your grandfather's like my favorite athlete of all time, right? And I'm not old enough to really have watched him live or anything like that, but I've watched all of his fights and everything like that. But what's it like when you meet somebody that they almost feel like they have a kinship with you in a sense because you're his family?
Yeah. It's always a pleasure to meet people like you, people who are taking the time to interview me, people who see potential in me and see a future with me. I'm very grateful to anybody who I come across that I meet who believes in me and sees great things ahead of my future.
That's cool, man. The humility, man. That's beautiful that you have that. I mean, you can tell it's genuine too. Like,
the best advice my grandfather's ever given me is always stay humble.
That is great advice. That's great advice. And you can tell you've taken heed of that for sure.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you started off playing football, but you got into MMA. So was it a deal where you didn't necessarily want to get into the family business, so to speak? Or what was, what was the transition? What clicked to kind of like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try that?
Yeah. So after football, I was really depressed. I didn't really know what to do with my life anymore, as any athlete would feel if they're playing a sport for so long and then they're done just suddenly. So after football, I was kind of thinking like, what's my purpose now? Like, what am I supposed to do in my future? I was thinking about, I was working at Adidas at the time. I was thinking about doing real estate. I was thinking about doing strength and conditioning because I still wanted to be involved in sports. So I got an internship at this place called the Institute that was here in Vegas. It's now called Project Wellbeing. But I was interning there, and a lot of the guys that I worked with were fighters from Extreme Couture that I already knew.
Okay.
So I just remember I was 22 years old, and I'm watching these guys just put in the work, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm 22 years old. I'm younger than you guys. Why am I coaching you? So I thought to myself, you know what? Because I was already training at Extreme Couture to initially just stay in shape.
Okay.
I was staying just to stay in shape. I wasn't looking to fight. I was just...
Did you spar at all?
So I sparred a little bit, not with the pros yet, but like the normal classes I would spar. And at that moment when I was at the facility, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna take MMA serious. Like I don't want to regret when I'm older. I don't want to have these questions of would I have been a good fighter, how far could I have gone. I don't want to have these kind of questions when I'm older because you can't go back in time.
I got you.
So I told myself I'm gonna put my all in this and see where I can do and challenge myself.
Wow, so you were 22 years old. Your younger brother is an undefeated professional boxer, right? And he's been doing it probably, since like 14 years old, something like that?
He started when he was 15, yep.
15 years old. So him getting into it so young, I'm assuming that someone around you tried to get you into boxing. Was it ever like, I'm good with it when you were younger?
It's kind of weird. I never had anybody try to get me into boxing when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
I had speed in my feet. I was fast on the ground, so it was kind of football. That was kind of the path. I remember what initially got me into football was flag football. I was at PE at recess, and I was just running super fast. My PE coach asked me, you play any sports or anything? I said no, because I was like this little skater kid. I never really did any sports. Hair? Yeah, I had very long hair.
Of course you did.
So he asked me if I played any sports. I said no. He's like, you should try flag football. Me and Nico played flag football 4th and 5th grade, and tried tackle when I was in 7th grade. Hated it, didn't like it.
Okay.
But we were gonna move back to Chicago, 8th grade or for high school, and I didn't want that. So my dad found Bishop Gorman. He's like, hey, they have a great football school and a great school. If you want to try football again, like we should just stay here and go to Bishop Gorman. And I said, yeah, I don't want to leave. So that's when I went to Gorman and tried football again, and it was very successful.
Ah, so your family, because your grandmother, Kalia, she's from Chicago, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So your family, did they move back to Chicago and you stayed here and went to school?
No, we stayed here.
Oh, your whole family stayed? Okay.
Yeah, me, my brother, my mom, and my dad were like the only ones here in Vegas. My the rest of my family from my dad and mom's side is back in Chicago.
Okay, wow, Chicago. Ah, I get it. Chicago, that's the home of the Nation of Islam and everything else, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I wonder about this. You being an MMA fighter and boxing obviously being a portion of MMA, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and whatnot. Do you have a favorite discipline that you really just enjoy?
Yeah, when I first started out training, it was Muay Thai and kickboxing. That's what I really, really enjoyed. But as I continued to branch out and try Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu for MMA and wrestling for MMA.
Because it's different.
Yeah, there's 4 pillars. You got wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, and boxing. Those are like the main 4 pillars, I'd say, in MMA. Obviously, there's other martial arts like judo, taekwondo, karate that can work in a mixed martial arts fight.
Yeah.
But those are the main 4. But I learned a hybrid of those 4 when I started training because I was learning these disciplines as it pertains to MMA. So you got to adjust it a certain way in order to learn it for MMA.
Yeah.
But when I first started out, I liked kickboxing. But the last couple camps I've had, I've only been grappling, really, wrestling and grappling. And I fell in love with that too. So I'm in love with both striking and grappling now.
I got you. Folks really don't understand just how cerebral like jiu-jitsu is. Like boxing is as well, and people probably don't understand that as well. But I mean, like just jiu-jitsu is like very, very cerebral, more so than physical. Because I mean, it's a chess match, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Okay. And that's something I'm assuming, being an educated guy that you are, that you excel and kind of picked it up, kind of.
Yeah. It was definitely, obviously, starting out, it was brand new. I was like, what's going on here, you know? But yeah, it's definitely, like you said, playing chess. You got to be a step or 2 steps ahead in order to advance. That's exactly how chess works, and that's how jiu-jitsu works. That's how fighting works.
There you go. So the PFL, it's not the UFC, but it is MMA. But as far as like the different structure that they have with it, you guys are doing like a season. How cool is like the PFL and just how they structured everything? That it's different, but it's the same. And the fact that you're on ESPN, so like, I mean, you got like a lot of people. I'm sure you get all kinds of text messages and everything else. People get a chance to see you.
Yeah, for sure. Again, super blessed to have the platform that I have. PFL found some potential in me. You know, they signed me when I was actually 0-1 when they started reaching out to me. And I was confused, like, I'm 0-1, like, because I lost my first amateur fight.
Yeah.
I was confused, you know, I was like, they see potential in me? Like, what? Like, this is crazy. But, you know, I'm just super grateful that the PFL, they see a lot of potential in me. They see me as growing to be a great fighter. I'm just super grateful for the platform.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. The last name doesn't hurt. And if the looks don't hurt, like the ability to speak and be around media, that doesn't hurt either, does
it? I think it helps a little bit.
It helps a little bit. It helps a little bit. And lastly, I wonder about this as well. Obviously, your younger brother has been boxing a lot longer than you, but you are the older brother. What weight class does he fight at?
He fights at middleweight, so I think 162.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's bigger than you.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
He fights. It's weird. The boxing, they have a lot more weight classes.
Yeah, middleweight's what? So 154, 160.
In boxing?
Yeah.
In boxing, it's like 160, 162-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But middleweight in MMA is 185.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference in the weight classes. But yeah, he fights at 162.
Okay.
I fight at 155 because there's not a 160 or 162, 65 division in MMA. So
I got you. So what are the sparring sessions like, or do you guys ever spar? And how does that go?
Me and Nico have never sparred before. During COVID, in the garage, he would help me out a lot with my boxing, and because the gyms were all closed, of course. So we would go in the garage and we'd train a little bit, and he'd show me some stuff that he knows. But we've never sparred before. We kind of just do our own thing. You know, I'm in the MMA gym, he's in the boxing gym, and
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good. But to have a professional, I mean, because people may or may not know, professional boxing, MMA boxing, you kind of alluded to it, it's different.
Yeah.
But boxers, being that that's their only discipline, like generally they're pretty far advanced.
Oh, yeah.
Of MMA
100%.
fighters, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. That's really cool. You got an undefeated brother. You're undefeated as a professional. We can forget about the amateur, right?
I'm going to be undefeated.
Okay, this is your first professional fight, right?
No, I'm still an amateur. I'm 2-1. I'm looking to be 3-1 on Friday. So I'm still an amateur, and again, like you said, to be able to get all of this as an amateur it's only preparing me for my pro career.
All right, really quick, was your first professional or amateur fight? Did you fight on Tough Enough?
No, I fought for Fusion Fight League out in Montana.
In Montana?
In Montana, Billings, Montana.
Wow. Mm-hmm. You went. Wow. You weren't living there at the time. You just went up there to go do your fight.
Yeah, I went up there to do my fight.
Wow. Okay. I actually lived in Missoula. My first TV job was in Missoula, Montana.
Oh, no.
So Montana's you were only up there for a fight, so you get a chance to kind of look around.
Yeah.
Billings is not the good part of Montana. Biaggio Ali Walsh. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, my man.
Thank you, guys.